Yeah, this afternoon was a little bit of a chill day, and I started going through my photos and going back through my journal and just trying to put my thoughts together, because I know everyone's going to be asking me when I go home, like, what was it about? And I don't know if I'm going to answer that to them, but I wanted to answer it to myself. And yeah, so I put some thoughts down, and I just want to read it to you. So I've dreamed of coming to Antarctica for as long as I can remember. Since childhood, I've been captivated by the stories of past explorers, their courage, resilience, and the raw, uncharted beauty that they faced. I long to experience even the smallest fraction of what they may have endured, the unforgiving environment, the remarkable wildlife, and the profound sense of discovery that comes only from standing at the edge of the world. For me, this journey was never merely about seeing Antarctica. It was about immersing myself in it. I wanted to be in Antarctica, to feel its bite, to challenge myself physically and emotionally, to kayak amongst ice giants, live aboard a sailing vessel cutting through its frigid waters, and trek across glaciers each day. I wanted to engage in this place as deeply as possible, and this week has exceeded every expectation. The experience has been nothing short of incredible and inspiring, and while those words may sound cliche, I don't use them lightly. With all my travels, I've sometimes struggled to fully appreciate the moment, to truly be present. But this journey has been transformative, helping me to see how far I've come in my efforts to live a more mindful and intentional life. Antarctica has given me the space to stop, breathe, and reflect, not just on what I'm doing now, but on what I've done and what I want to continue to strive for. Too often I fall into the trap of living in a check-the-box mode, moving from one experience to the next without pausing to truly absorb it. And I've carried a sense of urgency as long as I can remember, and not tied to age. Sorry, man. I didn't get through this part when I was writing it either.
So Antarctica is the most remote, the wildest place on the planet. Once we're down here, it's like being in a different world. It's like nowhere else you've been anywhere else on the planet. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Antarctica is an incredibly beautiful place, but it's also a very harsh place. So we come down here on this beautiful sailing vessel. It feels very much like an early explorer vessel. However, in this modern age, we have these modern comforts. The people that came down here before us, our forefathers, the old explorers, they came down on similar vessels. However, they had a much more difficult time. It was incredibly inhospitable for them. The trials and tribulations of the early explorers, if you've got Scott, Amundsen, Shackleton, everybody knows these names. They came down here, they forged the way for us to be able to do this. You feel like you're one of those early explorers on this vessel. There is no better way to see Antarctica.
I think coming to Antarctica for Rat Race it almost feels like the culmination of 20 years of adventuring. We've spread our wings, you know, very, very far from that first event in Edinburgh in 2004, and it's always been about regular folk doing extraordinary things. And I think at the beginning it was about finding adventure on your doorstep, and the whole take was, you know, you can have an adventure, you know, sort of in a London or out of Mongolia. You know, that was the thing, and that was the innovation. Then there's been on my part and on the company's part almost like a return to the wild places. That's come full circle to where we are today, here in Antarctica. Where is the adventure more authentic than coming, you know, literally to the end of the earth, to the seventh continent, and bringing normal, regular folk with us? And that's what the ethos of Rat Race is all about. So we're here, you know, sailing into the mist, icebergs all around us, for an absolutely fantastic adventure with a crew of rat racers on board that are just up for it. And I love that. Antarctica has always been synonymous with adventure, and it's always been synonymous with adversity. You know, adapting and overcoming is the wrong word, because I don't think it's a place where you can ever really overcome. And I think that's the point. You know, it's adapting to what is the harshest environment on Earth. And I think, you know, we will hopefully get to know a little bit of the white continent, and you know, and we'll get to know a lot about why, you know, adaptability really is the way it has to be. You know, Mother Nature's in charge down here, and we know that. You know, we have a selection of test pilots on board from the age of sort of mid-20s to mid-60s. They're very different people, you know, from all walks of life, different countries. They're not elite athletes, you know, they're looking for an adventure, they're looking for different things. It's going to push every single one of them, but it's done in a way that can be done safely, that can be done with rigour, with structure. You know, that's why this company exists. You know, that's why we do it.
Antarctica was one of those places where I thought all my life it's like, oh, that's an unreachable place. I will. It didn't even occur to me that one day I might be able to go there.
I'm a production supervisor, but I'd say I'm a forklift truck driver. This is a trip of a lifetime for me. I'm only here because Mother left some money in a will.
I grew up in a small farming community where you don't travel. You know, you go on a week trip, and it's usually by car. And my mother always talked about different places. My father always did research on all kinds of adventures, but we never went on anything.
This is a trip that I'd always promised myself would happen in my life at some point. With Shackleton, Amundsen, Scott, yeah, those are real life fairy stories for me as a kid, and I always thought I'd get here, but I never envisaged how I'd get here.
It's just got that awe about it. So when I saw this opportunity come up, I thought, yeah, I can't miss out on this. I had to do it.
I just want to have something to remember, and something, you know, with Mum, I don't want to be like, oh, MOT'd the car, or I've fixed the boiler, or life is about experience and not things. I can remember this.
Really, there are no words, it's emotional.
We are anchored up kind of in here against the boat, which is pretty cool, and we're planning to kayak around Nansen Island and around Enterprise Island and come back into where we started from. It's a beautiful island, so it's a lovely place to get familiar with the kayaks and the equipment and the environment.
Conditions stay absolutely perfect. There's not a jot of wind just now. It's flat as a pancake. The sun is shining in Antarctica. Let's get paddling.
There's not a cloud in the sky. Yeah, I sit there and just think about it, like, how am I actually here? So, yeah, that's it. That's all I can really say, man.
So yeah, from here we've probably got another 7 or 8 miles to go, depending on our route.
I was pretty nervous coming into this, thinking, just I've traveled so many different places, and I think back on a lot of it, and I don't really remember a lot of those trips. And that was really my goal, to just be as present and mindful while I was here to experience everything that it had to offer for me.
We are about ready to have some amazing whiskey with at least 30,000-year-old ice.
Fantastic.
I don't usually do cocaine, officer, but it was for the camera.
Obviously the wildlife is just on another level. It's just such a privilege to see these beautiful, gentle, just huge whales just winging along doing their thing, and the penguins have been jumping and leaping about in front of us and all around us, and it's just like, wow.
You're at eye level to everything, at a viewpoint that very few people ever get to witness nature. At that point, you just think, I need to take a mental picture of this moment. And there's so many points along the journey. constantly catching yourself thinking, take a mental picture of this moment, because this is once in a lifetime.
Yeah, I'll go back, and there's a lot I'll take back with me.
So the plan is to do a 50k mission paddle, but in a beautiful area, and we're going to leave from the Chilean base and we're going to go around Le Maire Island. There's going to be an option to finish after about 20-25k if anyone feels like they don't want to do the full 50k paddle, and then we're going to cross over to Bride Island and paddle around that island and then back up to the Chilean base. And there's been very few expeditions that have travelled through this area, and so I think it's highly likely that we'll be the first people to achieve this if we make it round.
It's a different day today. Pretty steely grey, low cloud base. Should make for some atmospheric paddling. We've got very nice calm water here, which is what we need on such a long journey. So yeah, looking forward to getting going.
Yeah, this is about as epic as it gets in Antarctica. You've got water is barely above freezing. We've got icebergs that can roll over. We've got glaciers that can carve, as well as the usual things you have to worry about anywhere else. It's a very different environment here, yeah. Always a bit nerve-wracking when you set off. You never quite know what's going to happen. It's a long way, but I think it's going to be great.
There's a wall of mist and there is apparently nothing beyond it, so we'll go and find out, shall we? I always take a moment to sit by myself and almost cast my mind back. What would it have been like to be, now, if I was now on endurance when the ice is crushing the ship, and now it's in the hands of the gods. So you can imagine yourself in the jaws of that danger without hopefully ever having to go right to it. But you're in the right place to have a life-altering experience, good or bad. There's always that in mind, that you're going somewhere that nobody else would go unless they were real explorers and real expedition experts, and you're getting to do it just as an ordinary person with an extra bit of kit and a little bit of training.
So when I was younger, I'd find myself sitting in group situations, whether it was at work or whether it was with a group of friends, and I would always just be sat listening to everyone else talking. I'm quite comfortable in that situation. I felt I didn't have anything interesting about myself to talk about, and so I didn't know exactly what it was, but I needed to do something with my life just to feel like I was more interesting. To feel like I had something to contribute to conversation, to feel like I had a story to tell. I mean, there's that phrase that everyone uses, and it's probably it's definitely overused, but you only live once. And it is that. I do not want to get to my old age and be sitting there in an old folks' home or whatever and be thinking, I wish I've done this. Yeah, so with Rat Race I've been to Mongolia, Namibia, Darien in Panama, Exuma Islands in Bahamas, Turkmenistan, where else? Bikini Atoll, Guatemala, and now I'm here in Antarctica.
No, I don't think I could ever be sick of penguins now.
It's the silence. I look at that ice and I think, how old is that ice? How long has it been there?
It's difficult to describe. When you're in the kayak, it's just, I don't know, almost therapeutic.
It's just, phenomenal. It's just amazing.
These kind of adventures always speak to me. They always do something that lifts me, that takes me out of the humdrum existence of day-to-day life. Grew up with my grandparents at the age of 5. Didn't see much of my mum, which was tough in the early days. And I remember I've got a picture somewhere of me standing with her. She's standing in the grounds of the sanatorium. Her wrists are bound from where she's trying to cut them. And I'm 5 or 6 standing with her. And she's got a great big smile on her face. And that episode had passed. And I think, if there's one legacy she left in me, it's that life when it's good is for living.
we spend a lot of time on the water in kayaks and on the boat, but to be able to get up above and to see the place from a different perspective is absolutely magical, and very, very few people get that opportunity, and we try and facilitate that in a safe environment. And there is a risk involved with walking around the glaciers. There's avalanches, there's crevasses, there's seracs, and we take that risk very, very seriously.
Everyone's got their beacon, probe, shovel.
It's part of the environment. It's a risky place. However, we do our best to mitigate and manage that and make sure that you are aware of the risks, but also that you know you're familiar with what to do if something does happen.
I've had this dream of being in Antarctica for decades now, really, of understanding and immersing myself in the sense of adventure and stepping back in time and thinking about the explorers in the past and what they might have felt like when they're coming into an extremely unknown environment, experiencing that raw nature, what this completely other world, the end of the world, truly could feel like.
I think in all of these trips, you find something in yourself, hopefully, not necessarily in a boastful way, just realising what further depths you may have that you didn't know you had before you went and did it.
So the Polar Plunge has become a tradition that is a must-do if you go to a polar region. It entails leaving a nice, warm, comfortable boat, stripping down to your bare nothings, and immersing yourself in the water of Antarctica.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've kind of felt that water with my hand, and that's quite cold. And then there was, when they were talking about the safety, it was kind of like, well, okay, talking about how to deal with that cold, I kind of thought, okay, I'm not sure I do want to do this.
They're watching and laughing.
Working. Ready? Bravo.
Woo! Your wash! It was your wash!
Sorry, guys.
He's broken iceberg.
brisk. So brisk.
Pretty refreshing.
That is cold.
In the future, I don't want to get to that point in my life where I think I wish I'd have done more. I want to get to a point in my life where I'm boring people, telling stories about everywhere I've been.
That's why I got these.
Part 3 of 3.
Here it goes.
Part
Representing the women folk.
Oh yeah, good work.
Oh, this is lovely.
This is a service.
He's bringing me an iceberg.
Yeah, I definitely feel proud of what I've done and what I'll hopefully continue to do. I'm always going to be someone that kind of has self-doubt. Like I always have that in me, and I look at other people on these adventures and think they're way more capable than I am. But I do feel like I'm here doing these adventures, so I am capable. Way more capable than I would have thought I was 20 years ago. It's not just the physical aspect of these things, it's the mental aspect. And I feel like I've massively grown as a person as a result of doing all of these things. And yeah, that's a very nice feeling.
These things kind of reveal character, and they reveal, you know, what's underneath the bonnet of a lot of people, and it doesn't really matter what they have or have not done before. You know, it's like the trip brings out who they really are. It's a really, really humbling experience to be part of that.
Yeah, for many people that come down here, this is the last continent that they visit. This is the 7th continent for them. So we make a point of visiting or at least landing on the continent. You'll step out of your kayak and you will touch the continent through human power.
For me, in this particular thing, I wanted to put my foot on Antarctica in the footsteps of those people who came here with no knowledge of it, and try to experience some of it. You know, I'm still in awe of it, even though there are documentaries, there are books, there have been 200 years of notes from people who managed to get here and those who managed to come back, which wasn't everybody, right? And you're doing it in an environment where you have no experience, so it's all going to be new. You know, we're actually on Antarctica doing things that only a few thousand people have ever done. Well, you know, what more could you want? This is the last bit of the puzzle on this trip. We're actually going to go and put our feet on the Antarctic Peninsula. There are a lot of icebergs.
I've never seen anything like this.
Let me try this again. Too often I've fallen into the trap of living in a check-the-box mode, moving from one experience to the next without pausing to truly absorb it. I've carried a sense of urgency for as long as I can remember, not being tied to age, with some deeper need to pack in as much into my life as possible. I was afraid that this trip would become another check-the-box. Just to get to Antarctica, to paddle, to see a whale, to spot a penguin, snap a few epic shots, and then move on, forgetting the soreness in my body, the stories that I could tell, or even the sharp, unmistakable smell of the penguins in the sea. But that didn't happen. This trip didn't just fulfill a childhood dream, it slowed me down and recentered me. It allowed me to savor every moment, every paddle stroke, every glacier hike, and every quiet, reflective evening. Antarctica has left its mark on me in ways that I'm only beginning to understand. It's a place I've carried in my imagination for years, and now it will live in my soul forever. Yeah. Do you want me to try to redo that without?
No, I wouldn't change this.
Okay.
Thank you.